So yeah, I thought I'd do a continuation. You won't believe the morning I've been having this morning, but here we are anyway, with Oddball today. Yeah, actually I did forget about the other houses, so this might be cut into segments because I'm going to be waiting for a phone call. And I have no idea what she's going to be like and what's going to be happening. Anyway, yeah, I just thought it'd be easy to sit down. So actually I got it wrong, there was 3 more houses that I completely forgot about. So I'll try and remember them in order, and I have slightly remembered the names from each one. So the first house I went to was on Ambler Street, I believe. That was the same. Second house was the same one that I went to, that I mentioned, the one I've actually bought. So then the third one actually turned out to be one on Beancroft Road that I looked at. And I was wanting to get that one, but at the time I didn't have the money. It was a big house, but it was one of those, it needed doing up. If I had the money, I would have actually bought that one. It was a terraced home. It had a bay window, which I really love bay windows. But yeah, it needed a lot of renovation, which it currently is going through at the minute with someone else. So someone else has bought it. And this one was by Hayley Davis, I think, something like that, if I've remembered it right. So I might have to look into that. I'll probably put it as the first bit anyway. The thing that I really liked about this house, which really would have been beneficial for me, for the dogs, it came, to say the price was 120 grand, it came with a garden that stretched about, I'd say, maybe 10 metres. So like a standard big garden. And if you know Beancroft Road, you'll know the houses that I'm on about. So it was a really big one. It was pretty much decent size. It came with 2 bedrooms, living room and kitchen, and a little under the stairs cubby hole sort of thing. But again, like I say, didn't have the money, and it was in dire need of doing up. But it was a 60s house, so I would have actually kept it. I said to her I would have kept it in its traditional look. But yeah, sadly didn't get it. The other thing was, it came with a garage, so half of the garden was taken up, but then that was the other selling point. But the garage was also down at the bottom, so yeah, a bit worried that it would have gotten broken into, and that also needed a bit of work. It also had like in the floor, it had like a hole, basically like a square hole, so I guess mechanics for like cars and that. So that would have needed filling over or filling in, although it could have been more space. So yeah, that was that house. So I was gonna get that one. Then the 4th house I went to, I believe, if I'm remembering it in order now, was the one on Wellington Street, the one I mentioned, the one with the really high ceilings. That came back to me recently. Then I'm on the 5th one. That one would have been one on Princess Street that I went to. That was 100 grand. It was nice. It was nicely done. They just wanted to quickly sell it on because someone had, I believe, rented it before, but now the guy who did it up wanted to sell it on. Nice living room. Kitchen, that was all done out really nicely, and I was like, well, I wouldn't want to change it because it's already been done nicely. So I couldn't do that. So I said it's nice. The stairway was very cramped, and it sort of swerved around as it went upstairs. But when there was the bedroom, and you looked out the door, it had the view of the stairway. And I thought, oh, I'll have the Dalek, up on a shelf over there, like a big Dalek. But again, it was too cramped for my liking. And the other thing I didn't like was the location. Great for if you're a rugby fan, but yeah, it was right next to the Cas ground, I believe, where they play Cas games. So it wasn't really my ideal, looking out the window and seeing the stadium sort of thing. That wasn't mine thing. The road, when I got on the road though, here's a little thing. It definitely it was like I was stepping into the 1970s. There was 2 old cars on that street. I don't know if they're still there. I'd have to go back and take pictures. But it was very yeah, it was stepping into a different time, and the way the road, it was like how I liked it. If you imagine this is the road, it was very wide compared to roads are like this, and you got cars either side, and then your homes with pathways. This road was very wide, letting in a lot of light, which I did like. But again, not a great location. Cheap, one of the cheapest ones that I went to, but it wasn't actually the cheapest one I was actually going to put my money in, because there was another one, but I'll get to that in a bit. So that was Princess Street. If I'm remembering this in correct order, then it was here's the other one that I remember, the last one. Then this one I went with my mum, and I call this one the lesbian house, because without sounding rude, but the people owning it were two lesbians, very nice people. Their house, very nicely well done, nice kept. The whatever, you know, the I don't know what you call it, cowling? I can't remember now, but you know, the thing you have on the roof, it'll come to me. The trim and all that you have up on the roof, very deep, which is what I do want on my new house. And I'm going to make my house look very grand, even though it isn't. It's not. It's a medium house, like I say, but you'll have to see it to believe it. It's not a small house. But yeah, this house that they were showing off, it was actually close to a friend's grandma. I think it was like literally like next door but two, something like that. So I knew the area. Again, it was like on Ambler Street, so same location as the first one. The reason why I also didn't like it is because I want to move away a bit further, and I don't want to have a garden that's in the backs where people can get round the back. Whereas my new one, you can't get round the back because it's private. So I want, you know, security. But the thing about Oddball, calm down. I will in a bit. It's because she's tired at the minute. If you just lay down, and all that hair flying off. The garden was. This garden was about maybe 6 meters long. But yeah, it wasn't. It was paved as well, but wasn't my cup of tea. It was, like I say, really well presented, very clean. The interior was it was modern, I'd say, modern Victorian type thing. Fireplace was really nice, I liked that. It was like grand, the way it was. It had these like curved shapes of the corners, and they were on a 45-degree angle rather than facing forward. I did like that, but for a small house, it looks nice, but it doesn't fit the feel, basically. So yeah, that was that house. I think that one had 3 bedrooms, if I'm remembering right. Nice people again. It had, the other selling point was it had a cellar, which I did like, but very low. I said this would probably where I'd do most of my work, but when you got to the stairs, that was the only downside, was they were very, if you've ever seen a cellar, very thin staircase and steep as well, so would have been a bit of a hazard. So it might have been good for storage, but yeah. So yeah, that was the other 3 houses in correct order now that I've remembered. The last house, if I'm remembering right, did I go to another one if I've mentioned? I can't remember now, but I'm sure I've put it in the video, and if you saw the last video, you will know what the last one was, what I said. But then, going from that, is the other thing about, there was going to be a house that I did like, that I was going to go to. I looked at so many different homes, and this is the cheapest one that I was actually going to put an offer in at the time, because I then at that time got given the gift money, which I'll explain how I got that and where most of the money came from. And this house was on Wood Street, and so literally across from the bus station, which would have been quite good for when I needed to travel. Close to many supermarkets in the area. It had 3 bedrooms. The shape of it was, as one of my uncles said, it must have been at one point, there was these row of houses, and then this house on the end had sort of tilted like that, as if there was going to be another row of homes. They had been knocked down, and some other houses had been pushed further back, so this here would have been like gardens. So this house was like a rectangle, but then a cheese wedge slope on the angle, so you had this bedroom upstairs that was on a funny shape and angle. Underneath, originally, it would have had a gate as an underpass. That had been changed to a bathroom. So it had a downstairs bathroom. You walked straight in, and by the way, I never actually went into this house because basically, like I say, I was going to put an effort in. I was going to have a sort of viewing, but then the next day they decided, this is why I don't advise going to Logic, because they were a bit naff. They basically put the house as sold, and sold it within, what, a week, when I was actually going to actually view it at the end. And they never got in touch with me, they never contacted me saying, oh, this house has actually been, you know, there's been someone who's bought it and put an offer in. So when I turned up and saw the sold sign, I wasn't, you can imagine I wasn't pleased. And my uncle was going to be coming to have a look with me to put his thoughts on it, because it was a decent sized house. It was, the garden was, it was concrete, which I'm not too bothered. It had a little ginnel down the side because this also had a garage as well, but the end of the garage was onto the main, not a main road, but like backs. So that also had me a bit worried. You know, if people knew where I live, they would then know there's a door at the end, and they would get in to the garage where I would be doing most of my work. But most of the stuff, like I say, it had 3 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms being more master bedrooms, so big, and then the small bedroom would have been where I put storage. So I had it all planned out for this one, but like I say, they sold it within a week, and it's currently going through something at the minute. So yeah, that was basically whoever's watching these, to the 20 odd people who are constantly always watching my stuff. You know, I'm always, yeah, you're the people that keep it going, sort of thing. They're playing, if you didn't know, there's a golf field over there. I'm currently waiting for a phone call from my mum, as I'm talking to her this morning. I think this time I'm going to carry on up that way instead of going that way this time. Probably we'll cut it here, sort of thing, because I've more or less mentioned, but as you know, I always either do pictures or something at the end. And to anyone who's watching the channel who's new, I will have fins sorted, so to those who are subscribing and then thinking, what the hell have I subscribed to, I am in the middle of getting fins sorted out to boost this channel a bit more, and obviously I can't do it full time. It's only, I am thinking I'm going to start doing more weekend stuff, keep people up to date, so maybe every Saturday roughly I will keep people up to speed with fins. If not, there's probably a reason why I can't, or I'm keeping something secret, but I am on with, well, today I would imagine I am going to be on with the Dalek build again and getting that sorted. I've got to do some bits on the dome and neck and eye stalk, and the skirt and the shoulders I will be starting when I've moved into the house, because I can't start them right now because there's a tool that I need for them, and I can't start until I've got a table saw basically, and the big space for that. Alright. If only I did move to this area. I have thought it would be nice if I did live close. There are houses over in that direction, but it's too late now with the house I've bought. I mean, if anything did happen or it fell through, then maybe I would start to have to look at somewhere else at the same range. But like I say, when I mentioned it to people at work, where I work it's close to Pudsey, but I was thinking Bramley area. I was thinking on moving to Leeds, Bramley. But when I looked at the prices, but they've told me actually they don't know where I've been looking. There is cheap houses in Bramley, so it would make it a hell of a lot easier to get to work instead of spending 2 hours on a commute every morning and every hour afternoon back. But like anywhere, everywhere seems to be rough. So yeah, it's alright. So yeah, it's yeah, I was thinking on moving there, but then I don't know how much the houses were. They all seem to be in the 300, but apparently there are ones that like at the same price I'm looking at now. Well, I say looking at now, I've bought one, haven't I? So I'm currently on the waiting game. I've filled out some more forms, so I've literally, I think, if I'm getting it right, there's only 3 more things to do. ID check, which I've had to send off for a provisional because my passport is out of date since 2013, because I'm not a holiday person. So there's that to do. And there's 2 other things, and I can't remember what they are now. But we are really close to now, hopefully getting the keys. And then the big video that will be coming soon of me showing it all off. They're alright. But yeah, honestly can't wait. Like I say, hopefully when she gets to see her brother again, hopefully this one will open up a bit more and not be as scared as usual. Probably thinking, what am I doing with a camera? And every day you see someone with a boom mic and a camera. But yeah, I think we will be on the roll again in a minute, so I'll get the camera out whenever I see anything interesting. But yeah, time to walk on again.